Hello friends, this video is for earthy, watery, sensitive, soothing Kapha dosha. Oh my gosh, I love my Kapha dosha. I love all the doshas because we are in fact all of the doshas, but we tend to dominate in one or two of them. Now, Kapha, my friend, signs that you may be out of balance include excessive mucus. So when you wake up in the morning and you need to blow your nose, or you're really crusty around your eyes, your nose, your mouth, anything like that, that's a sign of excessive kapha. Thick, white coated tongue, so scrape your tongue. Slow, sticky, sluggish bowel movements. So you have kind of a different constipation problem than Vata. They have real dry, hard stools. You might just have like incomplete bowel movements when you do move your bowels. Higher body weight. So you tend to look at fat and it becomes fat on your body. And this is really annoying. So a tendency to have a hard time losing weight, prone to being overweight or obese, prone to diabetes, blood sugar problems, heart disease, high blood pressure, these chronic illnesses that we see just a booming in the Western world. Difficulty rising in the morning. So Kapha is like a really earthy, dense, heavy energy. So think about, when you wake up and you just like you want to melt into the bed even more, like I can't even move my body. That's excessive Kapha. Feeling slow, foggy, dull, lethargic, heavy, fatigued, unmotivated, and you just like don't want to do anything. Easily attached or possessive. Now that's interesting. Overly sentimental, overly emotional, maybe even. This is when you're out of balance. When you're in balance, you are emotionally like where it's at, on point. Everybody wants to be Kapha, okay? Out of balance, you're complacent, you're stubborn, you are stuck in your way, and ain't nobody gonna convince you that you should do otherwise. A tendency for emotional overeating and binge eating. That's when you're out of balance, Kapha. I'll make a video talking about how awesome you are too, don't you worry. So what to include and focus on? Stimulation, exercise, lightening, warming, drying. You want to include the taste of pungent, bitter, and astringent. So think vegetables. Vegetables and greens are gonna be your friend. Heating spices like chili, black pepper, cayenne pepper, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom. You can pretty much tolerate any of the spices, all the hot spices that Pitta can't eat, you should be eating, okay? All the spices, all the time, anytime. Now, if you are a Kapha dosha and you're on a raw food diet, really hygienic, clean, and you're not having any problems, and you're not eating any spices, keep doing that. I'm not telling you to like stop what you're doing and start eating spices. Just saying you can tolerate them hypothetically. See what works for you. Room temperature and warm drinks and food are gonna be your friend, rather than the ice cold straight out of the fridge or freezer. So like Vata, store as much of your produce on your counter at room temperature as you can. For things that must be refrigerated, go ahead and take them out of your refrigerator 30 minutes to an hour or however long before you make your recipe, and that's going to help reduce the cooling effects of this very naturally cooling diet, the raw food diet. Sprouted legumes and seeds are very good, so go ahead and include as many of those as you care for. I will link in the description to the sprouter that I use and the seeds that I've bought. It's really easy to start sprouting by yourself, and it's quite fun. I'll make a video about that too, actually. Include lots of vegetables. Like I said, be eating your dark leafy greens, be eating all the veggies that you can tolerate and that you enjoy. Just go to town, like unlimited vegetables. Go for it. Routine meal times. Although intermittent fasting is okay, of all the doshas, you are the one that's going to tolerate intermittent fasting the best. Not saying you should do it, just saying that if you are drawn to do it and it's not causing any problems for you, go ahead and keep doing it. Mindfully eating in a peaceful environment. Again, this is important for all the doshas, but create a sense of ceremony and ritual around your meals. Breathe, relax, be present to your food as you prepare it, be present to your food as you enjoy it, and savor each and every mouthful, and that's going to help prevent overeating or emotional eating as well. So things to avoid: the taste of sweet, sour, and salty. Now you might be thinking, oh my God, sweet, so like I can't eat fruit? Well, you probably can eat fruit, and I'm not saying you shouldn't eat fruit. Think of sweet more like your refined sweet, your refined sugars, your cookies, your cakes, your pies, your ice cream, your boxed sugar cereals, and sugary sodas and sweet teas and things of that nature. Fruit is gonna be okay for you. Really, really sour foods might not serve you best, and salt, by all means, not for you. You are the watery, earthy dosha, so you are going to retain fluid like it ain't nobody's business. So salt is just going to make you retain more fluid, so cut it out. Now you might be thinking, oh, but I can handle a little bit of salt. If you can, you can, but for the most part, Kapha should not eat salt, and you might feel a whole lot better if you do that. Ice cold foods and drinks, avoid those. We already talked about that. Heavy, oily, fatty foods. So oils, no, don't do it. Now oil is a highly refined, non-food food anyways. So I know in traditional Ayurveda, things like ghee and oils are upheld and applauded, and if that stuff was working for you, chances are you probably wouldn't be watching this video anyway. So letting go of oils is going to serve you. Eating avocados, nuts, seeds, and coconut is okay in moderation in very small quantities. I say about less than 10% of your calories from those kinds of fats. So keep an eye on your fats. You might do just fine eating a diet of fresh, ripe fruits and vegetables and not having any overt fats. You might not eat overt fats for months and be totally fine. Or you might tolerate eating a tablespoon of nuts in your recipes or a tablespoon of nut butters in a recipe. I talk about this in Raw Food Ayurveda Volume 2 coming soon, to adjust the fat to lower it down, because again, of all the doshas, you're the one that's going to look at fat and it becomes fat on your body, and you want to be at your ideal body weight and looking good and feeling good and not being heavy. So fats are going to interfere with blood sugar and absorption, and if you're eating a lot of fruit and you're eating a lot of fat, that's just a recipe for blood sugar issues, and you don't want that. You want to feel light and energized on this lifestyle. You also want to avoid processed foods. I've said this for Pitta and Vata as well. If you've made it this far to a raw food lifestyle, chances are you already know you need to let go of the processed foods and refined sugars and the alcohol. These are all going to imbalance Kapha. Overeating and eating heavy meals will also imbalance Kapha as well. So make sure, this isn't as big of a problem with raw foods. If you're eating a bunch of bananas or oranges or a big juicy salad, chances are you're going to tolerate a larger portion. But in the beginning, as your digestive system is reworking itself and your gut bacteria are repopulating and getting used to the fact that you're eating, 2-3 times as much fiber as maybe you were eating previously, it can take some time to adjust to work yourself up to where you're able to eat larger meals. This is where snacks come in very handy. You might find that you do better with several smaller meals throughout the day. Make it work for you, okay? Now we'll talk about some more general tips for Kapha dosha. So you're going to respond really well in general to the lightness of fresh fruits and vegetables and small amounts of nuts and seeds. You're going to need to watch your fat intake more than other doshas and need to stay around 10% or less of calories from fat. Minimize oily foods like avocado, coconut, olives, nuts, and seeds, and minimize salt as Kapha retains water easily. Now, speaking from experience, when you eat more fat, you tend to crave more fat. When you're eating salt, you tend to crave salt. When you let go of fat or you eat smaller amounts of fat, you're not going to crave it as much. So don't worry about it. You're going to be just fine. Kapha will do well to use heating spices generously. Foods with a warming energetic are favorable to ice cold food from the refrigerator. Store your fruits and veggies on the counter as much as possible. Use the dehydrator and Vitamix blender to warm your foods. I have lots of recipes in Raw Food Ayurveda Volume 2 with dehydrator recipes and warming curries and Ayurveda inspired dishes that you are just gonna love. Kapha needs rough foods with lots of fiber, such as broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, dark leafy greens, and sprouted seeds and legumes. So that roughage, that fiber is gonna balance out Kapha's smooth oiliness. Pungent tastes like radishes, turnips, raw onions, and most spices. Bitter tastes like dark leafy greens, cacao, cumin, saffron, and turmeric. And astringent tastes like sprouted beans, some fruits, and vegetables will all pacify Kapha. Think lots of vegetables and fruit and low fat, and you're pretty much set on a raw food diet. So that's all for today. Like if you like, subscribe if you want to hear more, and go ahead and claim your free copy of Raw Food Ayurveda Volume 1 by clicking the link in the description. Much love to you. We'll be back soon. Bye.